On today's show,
we discuss JJ's piggyback ride, Rondo's apologies, and Iverson's Hall of Fame chances.
in the Up-Down report, grit and grind may be dead, but shoe tossing is alive and well.
And Kristen Ledlow joins us live from Boston to get us ready for tonight's Cavs-Celtics matchup.
It's Tuesday, December 15th. The starter starts now.
Good evening, sweet world, and welcome to the starters. Whether you're listening to the podcast or catching us on NBA TV and or YouTube, we're happy to have you. I'm J.E. Skeets, and alongside me, as always, as Tass Millis.
Oh, hey, didn't notice you there.
To his right, the international man of mystery, taking it to the max, Lee Ellis.
Friend.
Lily.
Lily, and last, certainly not least, over at the internet, starters blog editor, Trey Kirby.
Hey,
yo! Trey, what do you got for us today?
Well, I'm here at the internet looking for your best tweets at #TheStarters, and that's where I got a hot tip from a fan by the name of Cameron Stewart, who told me to go to the NBA's Chinese language website, do a Google Translate, and see what happens. So I did, and we're gonna have some laughs and hands. It's funny when there aren't perfect translations, like the Hawks becoming Eagle or the Bucks becoming Stag, but things get even crazier for teams like the Utah Jazz, who simply become Sir, or my personal favorite, the Philadelphia 76ers, who are now 76 people. Put that many guys on a team, and they're still not getting wins.
Oh.
You're burnt. Anyways, if you're watching at home, tweet at us, use #TheStarters, and we'll see your best tweets a little later.
All right, great stuff. Got a fun show for you lined up tonight. We got the Up-Down report, always a blast. Got the thumbs out, up or down on those. And Kristen Ledlow will join us live from Boston to get ready for the Cavs-Celtics game, which is on the network here tonight. But first, a little fill in the blank. We asked you to play along at home. Jump on Twitter, #TheStarters with your answers. On Friday, the league announced that Rondo was being suspended for one game for directing a derogatory and offensive term towards a game official. Now, what exactly was said remained obscure for a little while until yesterday when veteran NBA referee Bill Kennedy told Yahoo Sports he is gay after Rondo directed a slur at him. So that's what was getting him the one game. Rondo has since apologized or explained his actions, both in tweets and statements that we'll get to. But let's start with that. Fill in the blank. Rondo's apology to referee Bill Kennedy was what?
It's not enough. It's
Not enough.
insufficient. So much so that he had to apologize for his non-apology yesterday. Let's start with the non-apology. On Twitter, my actions during the game were out of frustration and emotion, period. They absolutely do not reflect my feelings toward the LGBT community. I did not mean to offend or disrespect anyone. Then someone in the organization must have told him, you gotta apologize, man. You must say sorry for those comments. Today, he did. Yesterday, I said that my words toward Bill Kennedy were unacceptable and did not reflect my feelings toward the LGBT community. Some have interpreted my comments as a non-apology. I want to be clear from the bottom of my heart that I am truly sorry for what I said to Bill. There is no place on or off the court for language that disrespects anyone's sexual orientation. That is not who I am or what I believe, and I will strive every day to be a better person. I think Rondo's a very smart guy, and I think he purposely left out the apology in the first statement.
those tweets.
Yeah, because he's a stubborn man, and he didn't want to apologize or say sorry because
But how does that make him smart, though?
well, no, I know. Well, it's obviously a dumb decision, but he knew that he wasn't apologizing.
Right.
He knew that his first comments weren't enough. He knew that he should have gone to the media and talked to the media, and instead, he put it on Twitter. A tweet that sounds a lot like Kobe Bryant's, very much like Kobe Bryant's
in what,
apology.
2011?
Yeah, basically word for word. He just didn't want to apologize, and I think that he just wasn't willing to say sorry, and he knew what he was doing.
That's what angers me. He took the easy way out. First off, the tweets are ridiculous. I mean, I'm glad he did release this statement today. That is the next step in this process. But the tweets are a joke. I did not mean to offend or disrespect anyone. When you called them the homophobic slur, you didn't mean to offend anyone. Okay, sure. And then you don't apologize. You don't say apology or apologize in any of the tweet. And you're right. He took the easy way out too. He didn't want to address the reporters. He didn't want to look them in the eye and own it. Instead, he just sends out a tweet. Whether he even sent out the tweet, we don't even know. And even the statement for that matter, which sort of angers me. I think he needs to get in front of the cameras and own what he said if he truly is apologetic about what he said.
Yeah.
If he is, then he should own up to it.
Yeah, he couldn't be less sincere or less remorseful from what he sent out to the media now. But let's not let the Kings organisation off the hook either, because they haven't punished him in any way.
That's interesting, yeah.
Vivek and Vlade released a statement yesterday and sort of said, well, we don't condone what he said, of course. but they didn't actually then tack on another game suspension or make him do anything else. And I think that the organisation has to look at themselves a little bit here. They had DeMarcus Cousins on Twitter just afterwards tweeting, this guy should be an All-Star, vote All-Star. I mean, that is a horrible look for the league, that your best player is then trying to endorse this player who said something so horrific to a referee to get him into the All-Star game.
Yeah, it's
So
just
the
kind of gross.
organisation
It's gross. The whole thing is gross.
Yeah.
And they should have forced him to come out and talk to the media right away.
I agree.
No one in the off-season gave Rondo a chance.
Yeah.
The Kings give him a chance, and this is how he treats them.
Yeah.
The organisation has to answer to this too.
It only looks bad on him.
Again, let's hear from you guys on Twitter. Fill in the blank. All right, next one here, guys. Clippers Pistons last night. 25 seconds left in the game. Detroit about to be up 2 points. JJ Redick decides to climb Andre Drummond like Lee's 3-year-old son down at the jungle gym to foul AD, so he has to go shoot the free throws on the other end. Now, here's the thing. It's not an intentional foul. It's called a loose ball foul. I think it was intentional. I think we can all agree there.
I think so.
Yeah, but fill in the blank. I mean, this is something we've seen before, Tass. JJ Redick's foul on Andre Drummond was what?
It's a smart way to get around the rules. There's no doubt about that. Drummond went to the free throw line to shoot 2. But it's going to force the league to look at the way intentional fouls are looked at at all times. You just can't make a mockery of the league. I mean, this is a joke. I mean, this isn't. I think this is worse than an
Won them a
intentional
game.
foul.
What's the joke about that? This won them the game.
This-
Saved them a
it's
point.
literally-
They went to overtime.
Literally.
It was a smart move.
Of
And there's
course.
really no way to legislate this out, because how are you going to say, well, I fouled him intentionally so he could shoot free throws, versus I was just trying to get a rebound?
I think it's an arbitrary call by the refs.
Yeah.
I mean, that if
was
you
in-
look at
yeah.
it, you know that the guy's
Yeah,
jumping
You
on
can
his
watch
back.
that and tell me he was trying to get a rebound. No, you can't.
No, but I'm saying in another situation, if there's a guy going over the back for a rebound, how do you call that and say that one's unintentional and that one wasn't intentional? There's a really fine line between that. I don't think you're going to be able to figure it out in real time unless you want to go to replays, but I know the reason you hate these intentional fouls is because it makes the game too.
Well, it does. I mean, first off, you can say that about any foul in the NBA. It's subjective. So, I mean, this is just another thing to add to the referees list
that's
and
not
the game's list.
subjective, though.
But
This
that
is not-
isn't. I'm
no.
with you. We saw Chris Paul do this before to Dwight Howard. And we've seen a lot of teams,
Yeah.
quite frankly, get pretty sneaky at this with the whole trying to cheat the system. You're within the final 2 minutes and you don't want them to get the ball back, but you want to intentionally foul a bad free throw shooter. So they truck guys over through a screen, grab a guy in the right position where it can sort of look like it's a basketball play, but it isn't. I'm with you, Taz. I think, and you know my opinions on the intentional fouling in general, I think it should completely be taken out of the game because I think it's just brutal television, and we're trying to get fans into the game, not turn them away from
But in that instance, I don't see why they can't just award an intentional foul and possession to the Pistons.
Yeah,
I don't see
Well,
why.
they could. I mean, with the rule change, yeah.
Yeah, well, the rule is you intentionally foul a guy within the last 2 minutes. It's one free throw. Anyone can shoot it, and you get the ball back.
Right.
So why wouldn't that fall under that umbrella? It's difficult because it's sort of a live ball. I mean, flying through a pick is definitely hard for a referee to tell. That instance there, you can
He jumps
tell.
on his back.
Yeah.
Guys will just make it look more subtle. If you put a rule in, it's going to be not guys hanging on the back. It's going to be running them over, trying to get them out of the way, and that's a foul too. And it's just as unintentional as JJ Redick's is. If you're faking it, it doesn't really matter. Just make some free throws and it's fine.
Stan Van Gundy did say, he said, look, I
Yeah.
shouldn't have had Andre
out
Drummond
there,
in
yeah.
there in that situation to not even give them the possibility,
Of fouling,
especially
yeah.
the Clippers, again, who we've seen it from Chris Paul before. They know they're well aware of this because they've got a horrible free throw shooter on their team. They know all the little tricks.
Intentionally unintentional. That's what it looked like, yeah.
All right, final one here, guys. The Hall of Fame is making major changes to the election process, reducing the wait for eligibility by 1 year. Yeah, let's watch some old clips. Let's get excited.
No, I'm just excited about the new rule.
It's a move that could suddenly produce an unexpected mega class of Shaq, Yao Ming, and Allen Iverson in 2016. And it's that third name, AI, that I'm interested in. And I'll throw this question again at everyone watching and you guys. Fill in the blank, and this is a little different. Allen Iverson is a blank Hall of Famer.
He's a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer. He has influenced the youth and people so much. The cultural impact has to come into this. Forget about his play, which he was on top of the league for
was an
I think,
MVP.
a very long time. He was a great player for 12 years. He definitely flamed out towards the end of his career. But you could just look at his basketball playing and put him in, and then you could look at his cultural impact and put him in. Combine those, he's most definitely in.
Yeah, he is. I mean, I'll just play the devil's advocate for a little bit here.
Sure.
He averaged 26 points a game for his career, but people will say he was a ball hog. and he was a chucker.
Yeah,
He
low
took up a lot of
efficiency. Yeah,
shots.
yeah.
He'd never really gelled particularly well with a good teammate, and that was perhaps one of the things that held him back a little bit. 2001, he carried that Sixers team to the finals, and he was awesome. He was deserving of the MVP. But he did have a bit of an attitude problem, which cost him towards the end of his career. No one would give him a chance. The Grizzlies said, you can come play with us. If you come off the bench, he said, yeah, great. 3 games in, he walks out on the team.
Yeah, I think
So-
he won enough, though. I mean, you see so many guys in the Hall of Fame who didn't have anywhere close to that type of winning.
He's got great numbers, and he was an icon. Surefire.
Yeah,
I wonder.
Great
Thank
numbers
you.
and an
Look.
icon does seem to add up to surefire to me.
Well,
Yeah.
the secretive voting board for this
Yeah.
Hall of Fame, though, you have no idea. I mean, they may look at that and go, that's not enough. 3 first-team All-NBA nods and no titles in the one. They may think
11
it's not.
All-Stars,
Yeah.
7 All-NBAs.
I'm with you.
That's a lot.
If I get a vote, which I don't, and we don't, he would be in for sure. And I would
It's
add
the
you.
cultural impact, especially
Yeah,
the younger
yeah.
voters, if there are younger voters out there, would definitely
No,
put
they're
him in.
all old.
Well, that's the problem.
Yeah, maybe it is. All right, we gotta take a break. When we come back, thumbs up or thumbs down on the Clippers' new last to the locker room rule. You're watching the starters. Back on the starters, right into the up-down report, where the 4 of us figure out where we stand on some hot-button NBA topics. Play along on Twitter, thumbs up or thumbs down for these questions, guys. All right, first one. Apparently the Clippers have a new rule that the last player to the locker room has to dance, which led to some very funny post-game interviews last night in Detroit. Take a look.
The 3 to win it, Jamal. You were wide open. Did you expect to have a shot like that? I didn't, but Blake, Chris, JJ, everybody always makes the right decision. We trust each other. We've been there before. 4-1 road trip. Doesn't get a whole lot better than that, right? It's a great trip. Have a nice flight home. All right, thanks a lot, bro.
JJ, to be able to grind out a win like that, what's that say about your basketball team?
Great win for us. I just think we showed a lot of results.
All right, he's gone.
Yeah, he's out of here. All right, Todd. So up or down on the Clippers' last to the locker room rule? Trey's down.
I'm down.
I'm way up on this.
Yeah.
The answers are already cliche as it is, so let's just
Exactly.
make them quicker and get to the locker room.
I think it's a cool rule. I like that the last person back has to do something, but dancing should never be a punishment. If you're the
exactly.
last one back, you should have to watch everybody else dancing while you stand there and look sad.
Exactly. I would crawl back to the locker room.
Because you'd want to dance.
Just so I could dance.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
okay.
why I'm down on it. For
I just
sure.
like how they're all looking around for each other while they're doing the interview, not
Yeah,
knowing
very
who's
funny.
out there. So.
That's amazing stuff. All right, next one here, guys. The Memphis Grizzlies, they have a new starting lineup, and they're going to stick with it, apparently. Most notably, their 2-time All-Star Zach Randolph. He's coming off the bench. Now, he played 26 minutes off the bench on Sunday, 21 minutes on Monday. The Grizzlies split those games, went 1-1. So
Yeah, they should've won both.
Some success. Yeah, they blew a big lead there to the Heat there on Sunday. But I want to know, guys, thumbs up or thumbs down on the Grizzlies bringing Zach Randolph up off the bench?
Nice.
Thumbs up.
Unanimous.
We all agree with this.
They need to do something, I think, in Memphis, because they started out the season pretty slow. At home, they've had losses by 37 points, 30 points, and 24 points, and they got smoked by 50 earlier in the season.
Yeah.
They need to find a way to sort of get back on track, because remember, we thought they were a championship caliber team last season. They're not right now.
Yeah, and those numbers are Rockets-esque.
Yeah.
What that means is that they're just not all there and ready to play. That there's no way that they're 30 points worse than other basketball teams.
Right.
There's
Not
no way
twice in
that
a week
Yeah, and
at home.
And there's no way that they're the 25th best defense. They've got 2 guys in their prime, Mike Conley, Marcus Gasol, most important positions at 1 and 5. There's something going on in that locker room. They needed to switch up. The last 2 games now, they've shot 51.5% and 56.5%.
Yeah.
Their offenses looked very good. They needed to shake it up. Zach Randolph, as your number 1 option off the bench, obviously is fantastic.
Yeah.
And they just seem a lot more into their last 2 games. Something, again, mentally is going on in that locker room. Maybe they're just sort of tired of old hat, just the same old team, and they don't think that they can beat the Golden State Warriors as is. They needed to switch up, and this is a good start.
And Zach Randolph, he says, look, I'm a team first guy. I'm an organization first guy. Whatever it takes, I'm with it.
Yeah,
So
right.
he's fine with it.
Right.
And I think he even knows that he was struggling earlier
Yeah.
in this year. So anything to shake it up, and it seems to be working so far. All right, next one, up or down on shoe tossing. And the reason I ask is in the 4th quarter of Monday's Houston-Denver game, Rockets wing Trevor Ariza lost his shoe. So Nuggets guard Will Barton did the only logical thing, right? He picked it up and threw it away from Ariza, but he was hit with a technical for delay of game. So are you thumbs up, not this one in particular. Are you thumbs up or down on shoe tossing in general?
Yeah, I can't get mad about it.
Trevor
I'm
Ariza wanted to fight him too.
Yeah.
So mad.
Just give him a Trevor a reason. He'll fight.
I'm down on this one for a few reasons. One, eventually someone's going to chuck one of these shoes up into the stands and it's going to pop someone in the eye. Can see it coming.
I get it,
I can
yeah.
see it coming. But also,
come
we
on.
have some evidence
It's gonna
that people.
pop somebody in the
we
eye.
have evidence that some people are better without their shoes. So you actually might be helping out a guy like Trevor. Yeah, Mike Miller going out there now.
I love how we have Austin Powers there.
Yeah, but it's
Our
actually a
graphic.
safety precaution to get it off the court, because what happens if someone's trotting back and they tread on it and roll their ankle? Then
Yeah.
what happens?
Oh,
There's a lot of different safety concerns when shoes are flying around on the
Exactly,
court. You know, get them
exactly.
out of here. That's why I'm definitely up on this.
And yesterday was the anniversary of George Bush getting a shoe thrown at him.
It's fitting. Also,
poetic.
am I crazy or haven't? This has happened to Trevor Ariza before, right? Like Ron Artest almost started this
yeah.
whole movement. Yeah, I think it was like 2009. We have it. Wow.
Wow. you
Nobody
pulled
was
that up
throwing
quick.
shoes before
Like,
that.
look, Ariza loses it, and then Ron Artest, now Meta World Pete, chucks it. And
Maybe
look
that's
at
why he was so mad. He's like, not again.
Yeah.
See, this is something you can get away with. I love it. You know, it's really hard for a referee to say, I'm not going to whistle him for throwing a shoe. I mean, who throws a shoe?
But you got the tech.
I know,
You
tech
there.
is a little bit harsh.
That's
just a
it's
delay of
true.
games
You say
enough.
it's a safety concern.
It's
so-
a safety concern.
All right, one more here. Speaking of shoes, guys.
It's gonna happen one day. Trust me.
Nike has unveiled the latest
These won't
model
come off.
in the Kobe Bryant signature shoe line, the Kobe 11s. Now, on the
will
back of the
They are. They
sneakers,
will come off.
on the back of the sneakers, there are nods to Kobe's 2013 Achilles injury. Are you thumbs up or thumbs down on the new Kobe 11s?
I think they're cool.
I'm thumbs up.
Yeah, they're a soccer shoe, basically. Kobe's a big-time soccer fan. His last, 4 shoes basically have been pretty soccer influenced. I like the way they've kept it going. Red and black always looks good on a shoe.
Yeah, but why are his red and black?
Because of style.
Right. Okay.
Because cool guys like me want to go buy red and black shoes.
Okay.
Why are you down?
Have
You're
you-
wearing
have you-
red and black shoes now.
Yeah, I do, but I'm not playing for a team whose colours are predominantly purple and gold. You know.
Fair enough.
I had a pair of red and black Ruse, actually. Australian
Ruse?
brand.
Oh yeah.
They're a little too much. A little too loud.
I
That's
think
why
you can
I'm
handle him, Tatsi.
All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, will JR apologize for punching Jay Crowder? We'll talk to Kristen Ledlow live from Boston about that and a whole lot more.
What'd you keep in your ruse pouch?
Back with the starters after last season's eventful first-round playoff matchup. You can guarantee the Cavs Celtics are going to be extremely motivated to win tonight, and that is the first game of the doubleheader on NBA TV tonight. Gets underway at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Cleveland bringing in the 4th best offensive rating in the league. Boston coming in with the 4th best defensive rating, and we are bringing in Kristen Ledlow live from Boston. Kristen, thanks for joining us again.
The 4th or 5th best starter, right?
The first in many people's books. All right, Kristen, look, lots of questions here. First off, Dave McMenamin of ESPN, he reported that Kyrie Irving is both ready to play mentally and physically, but the Cavs are being cautious with him. And apparently he's been like this for a week. Can you confirm that report, or is that what you're hearing with Kyrie and the Cavs?
Yeah, this morning I actually talked to Kyrie, and he said that he's feeling great. He was kind of running around at shoot around, but a lot of the guys have said we're sitting atop the Eastern Conference, so what's the point in rushing him back before it needs to be time? Now, he was reportedly looking at tonight as a target return date, and then potentially in a couple of days, but we won't exactly know the final date as of right now. But I do know that my guy Grant Hill has been quoted more than one time saying to guys that have had these kind of injuries, he said, wait until you feel all the way good, 100%, then wait 10 more days. And that was his advice to Kyrie as well.
All right, it's good advice. Grant definitely would know. You're right about that. All right, Celtics forward Jay Crowder. He wants an apology from Cavs guard J.R. Smith for what happened in last year's playoffs. You might remember Smith with the backhanded punch. It caught Crowder in the face. Then they had the ACL injury because of it. He was out. Is an apology on the way? Have we heard anything from JR today heading into this game, or should we not expect one?
Short answer, no.
Okay.
There is no apology coming. Not as far as I have seen, not as far as I am concerned. And as far as this morning seeing JR, it appears that he has moved past the situation.
Okay, fair enough. Anything else going on in anticipation for this big game there at TD Garden?
Yeah, it's funny because we thought maybe the Celtics would take down the defending champion Warriors. That didn't happen. Then we thought maybe Kyrie would come back. That didn't happen. I got the update on Amon. He's fine. So I emailed the Celtics and asked, could I get Kelly for the show? There must have been some sort of communication error because Olenek's out here shooting around, and they sent my friend Kelly instead.
Oh!
This is Kelly
Hello.
of the
Hi,
Boston
Kelly.
Tea Party Museum. Kelly, they're playing the colonial music for you. It's a big week for you.
Hey, it's a huge week for us. Now, here we are in Boston, of course, with the historic Boston Celtics 17 championships. I know that's huge, but that is not the only historic thing happening here in Boston. Tomorrow is the 242nd anniversary of the Boston Tea Party, and we are celebrating with a full-scale reenactment of the Tea Party, beginning over at the Old South Meeting House, where these historic meetings took place. That's happening at 6:30 tomorrow night. Then we all rush out of Old South Meeting House, get into a parade formation. We march through the streets of Boston to the sound of the fife and drum. Then we go down to the waterfront, where we will be dumping real East India Company tea into Boston Harbor. And the East India Company, still in existence, I know, after all this time, still the same company, they have sent us 100 pounds of tea to be involved in our
Yeah,
in our
but Kelly, how will the
It's incredible.
Celtics stop LeBron James?
Sorry, one more time.
They want to know how the Celtics plan to stop LeBron James. You and your friends learned how to stop the King.
That's
So
true, yeah. So I would say to stop the King, you have to form an organized protest. Organized protest,
okay.
because
Smart.
if it's just chaos, nothing is going to happen on the floor tonight. So the more organized, the better. I think they might be able to take him down.
All right.
and that
Kelly-
right there
Kelly,
is what no
last
taxation
question.
without representation means to us.
That's right, absolutely.
Last
Last
question here.
question?
We started our show in Canada. We moved from there. Do you look down upon us because we're part of the Commonwealth?
Good question.
A little bit, right?
I'm sorry, I'm having a little trouble here.
Do you look down on Canada
Must be
at
our
all?
Canadian accent.
Why would we look down on Canada? No,
Because
no,
the
no.
starters are Canadian.
Am I supposed
didn't-
to? Are
we
you
didn't
telling me
say
I
no.
should? I mean, you guys had it, before you became Canada, you were actually part of Britain. If you didn't know that already, in 1763, the Treaty of Paris made you then officially Britain. So at this time, we were all brothers in
Keep
arms.
talking.
There's a
Thank
history
you so
lesson.
much. Kelly and Kristen. Back with the starters, time for Lee's Very Solid Play of the Night. Lee.
We go into the grindhouse, and it's a classic from the very solid play pioneer Marc Gasol here. Just a beauty over to Courtney Lee, who lays it up, and that's what I call a very solid play.
All right. Tonight's pick, by the way, we're picking between the Cavs and Celtics. I'm the only one taking the Celtics. Me and Kelly are taking the Celtics. These three guys have the Cavs. We'll be back tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Thanks for joining us, folks. And remember, talking to yourself is just thinking out loud.
Brace the night, people.